Hi, I'm Derek. I've been living in Japan for the past 7.5 years, and I've been studying Japanese for forever, basically. And I'm trying an experiment here where I document some stuff that's everyday life Japanese that's going on around me. When I first started traveling to Japan, I found that many of the things I'd studied in textbooks just didn't cover some real-life stuff that I wanted to know. So I'm hoping to alleviate some of that for study for people and hopefully be a useful resource. So what I want to go into this time is this ramen restaurant that I really like in Meguro called Ramen Ishin. It's a place that specializes in sort of lighter styles of ramen, such as shio ramen, which is salt broth ramen. It's really good. It at least had a Michelin star at one point. I'm not sure if it still does, but I want to showcase what's on the machine there a little bit to people, and also a couple of signs that I saw in the restaurant. And I'm hoping what people can get from this is just a little bit to aid in their Japanese study so they know what real world stuff is being used. So hopefully this is helpful. Let's dive right in. Okay, let's go through the different buttons on this machine. So in the upper left, there's one that says Toku Shoyu Ramen. And shoyu is soy sauce, as you probably know. And so shoyu ramen is a base that uses this soy sauce for the ramen. And in fact, if you look across the different three options here, they're just different really based on the broth. So like all the toppings are the same. And all three top buttons say toku. And what the heck is toku? So toku just means that it's the special one with all the toppings. It's the same toku that you see in tokumori, which you sometimes see at gyudon shops, in other words, beef bowl shops. And you see it in tokubetsu, and tokubetsu means special. So this is the special edition ramen that has all the stuff. So what are the different things? It lists them below. We have ajitama ikko. An ajitama is a flavored egg, and it's the sort of egg you get in ramen. And ikko just means that there's one item. A lot of things are measured in this way. Just ikko is a very general counter. Then we also have wonton santsubu. Wontons are wontons. We say santsubu because they're bumpy objects. So a tsubu is like some variety of like seed or bumpy thing. Because wontons are these little bumps, you can measure them in tsubu, which is kind of cute if you think about it. Chashu sanmai, so 3 slices of chashu. 2 of them are pork, buta nimai, and 1 of them is chicken, tori ichimai. And if you look across, all the other varieties of toku have this. They have different broths, but the actual toppings are the same. We cover what the different toppings are. Now in the next row, basically all the different buttons are just reductions in the amount of toppings that we have, and we learn the words for those. So I'm going to skip over the next row. So underneath, you have the individual toppings, ajitama, menma, wonton, chashu. Beneath that, tsukemen, nami, and tsukemen dai. So tsukemen is just dipping noodles, and you may have heard of this already. Nami and dai are just ways of referring to the size. A lot of sizes of things in Japanese restaurants are referred to as nami. So nami just means normal or regular. So below that, we have some other sides that you can get. White rice. Number of different ways to read this. All of them are correct, which is crazy. One of the most common ways to read this is hakuhan, which is perfectly valid. So that will make sense to a lot of people. Some people may read this shiromeshi, which is also fine. So next to that is hanhan, half rice, right? You could also say hanmeshi, and that would also work. Next to it is butameshi. So butameshi, pork rice. So it's essentially a pork rice bowl. So next to that is katsuobushi tsukimi meshi, which is a lot of stuff to cram into one space. But katsuobushi are bonito flakes, and tsukimi just means that it essentially has an egg on it, so because it looks like the moon, right? So it's like looking at the moon, and that's a whole other thing that happens seasonally in Japan too. There's always a tsukimi burger that comes out in Japan that's really fun. So katsuobushi tsukimi meshi is bonito flakes and egg on rice. Next button is aburi chashu, which is just roasted chashu. Aburi just means to like basically roast with a blowtorch. Next thing, drinks. Kuro udon cha, so black oolong tea. Next one, namabiru. If you don't know this one when you get to Japan, you will know it soon. So at the bottom, there's a couple of special lunch sets that you can get as well. The first one is butameshi. This is the same as the butameshi button above, but you can get it at a special lunch set price. And this time it's written in kanji. Why is it different? Who knows? Next to that is tori shiohan. Tori is chicken. Shiohan, salt rice. So it's basically salted rice with chicken. It's the alternative to the butadon that you could get. One last button on this thing that we should cover on the right-hand side is ryoshusho. Ryoshusho is a type of receipt that's often used by Japanese businesses for expensing. It's different than just a regular receipt, and you usually make it out to some person at a company. You probably don't need it. If you need it, you will know. So that's a quick overview of the buttons on this machine, and let's move on to a couple of signs that I spotted while I was in this restaurant. So picture the scene. You've used the machine to buy your ticket. You sat down at the counter, you've given it to the person. What do you see in front of you? So a couple things to read off here. First, ohiya wa self-service de onegai shimasu. So ohiya is a very casual way of saying water that's used a lot in the Tokyo area, and it's used in place of omizu, for instance. And here it says ohiya wa self-service, so self-service in English, de onegai shimasu, please. Self-service, please, for your water. You gotta go get it yourself. Looking down at the chopstick box, a couple things to read off. Kami apron, kamidome o go yoi shite orimasu no de, hitsuyou na okyakusama wa staffu ni o koegake kudasai. So kami apron, literally paper apron, but it's a bib. And then kamidome is a hair tie to keep your hair back while you're eating your ramen if you have long hair. Go yoi shite orimasu, yoi is to prepare. Go yoi makes it very polite as we're talking to customers here. And shite orimasu is shite imasu. It's the same as the present progressive of doing. Making it shite orimasu means that it is more polite. Orimasu is a more polite form here. Hitsuyou na okyakusama wa staffu ni o koegake kudasai. Hitsuyo is necessary or need. Okyakusama, customer. Staffu, staff. O koegake kudasai, to give a shout to. Shout out to the staff. Koe o kakeru is a very common phrase used to just reach out to someone, call out to someone. And in this case, we're putting koe and kakeru into a single unit. So it becomes koegake, koegakeru. O koegake kudasai, please speak to the staff. All in all, it comes together to mean we have bibs and hair ties available. So if you need them, please reach out to the staff. Okay, and looking around a bit more, there's another sign on the wall I'd like to read out for people here. It says, ohiya wa self-service ni natte orimasu no de, o teisū desu ga, go kyōryoku onegai itashimasu. You'll recognize the first part from what we just talked about, which is ohiya wa self-service ni natte orimasu no de. Same exact phrase. After that, it gets more interesting. O teisū desu ga. So tesu means a burden or something you'd be going through. It's like the word meiwaku, and it means that basically they're imposing on you. Saying o tesu makes it polite. There's the honorific in front of it. So o tesu desu ga means although it's a burden on you. And the next part says go kyōryoku onegai itashimasu. Kyōryoku is cooperation. Go kyōryoku is honorific. Go kyōryoku onegai itashimasu means please cooperate with us. We ask for your cooperation. Onegai itashimasu is the same as onegai shimasu, but more polite. So onegai is a wish, and itashimasu is we do. Reading the whole thing all together, because water is self-service, even though it's a burden, we ask for your cooperation. And now the end result, a tasty bowl of ramen. I actually really recommend this place, so if you get a chance, please do go check out Ramen Ishin. Super good. As you can see, the yuzu ramen is my favorite. It's pretty tasty. Give it a shot, and hopefully this is useful to people. What I'm hoping that people will get out of this is a little bit of improvement in their Japanese skills and their ability to read the signs and buttons and sort of things that pop up in everyday life.